Ladies and gents, boys and girls, this is Paclands 2, developed by the Game Masters Group, 2005, published by Alawar Entertainment, 2005. Let's get into the training. Hold Control to turn around, collect all of the stars to complete the level. So once you hold Control and use one of the arrow keys, the player character will simply just face the corresponding direction. Turn your character to face the box and use space to move it. The player can then use the boxes to climb up these ledges because the player cannot jump onto them. Warning! Dangerous thorns! Use arrows to move your character in the pointed direction. These one-way arrows look more like spades. Get some practice in moving on a slippery surface. Get some practice with moving platforms. Pick a tomato up and throw it at an enemy, then touch him to kill. Mind that your enemies can regenerate. Tomatoes do not automatically replenish with time like the bullets do in the prequel, so additional tomatoes have to be picked up off the ground. Push boxes on thorns to move further. The Mega Bullets power-up is replaced with more tomatoes. 3 in fact. Judging from the tutorials, Paclands 2 is a wholly different game from its supposed prequel, and we'll eventually see why later on in this walkthrough. Oh, so you're supposed to click on the picture in order to play. Basic gameplay is otherwise similar to that of its prequel. You control this character across the maze collecting all these items, and instead of using power pellets you defeat enemies by shooting things at them. And once hit, the enemy is paralyzed, and when you touch it, it turns into a bonus item. That could be either additional points, additional lives, or a power-up that causes the enemies to temporarily stop moving. Notably, instead of Thomas, we have this springy character who is supposedly Thomas's uncle. He travels around using a spring on the bottom and has hands with which to throw tomatoes. And speaking of tomatoes, this game also eschews the mouth shooting ability in favor of simply throwing the tomatoes at the enemies. And you also can't jump either. And once all the stars are collected, there is no teleport to go through to complete the level just ends immediately. And holy cow, did that enemy just spawn out of nowhere? Yes, these enemies can certainly respawn once they're killed. The sound that collecting a star makes sounds like it was from another Alawar game. I wonder if Alawar has a common sound effects library for its developers. The sound that plays when an enemy is hit by a tomato is the same one in Snookles when an enemy is killed. And the voice that plays every time you collect a bonus item? That doesn't sound like a voice an uncle would speak in. This game has cannons just like in the prequel, but just like the tomatoes that the player character throws, these projectiles are also constrained by the laws of gravity. They don't work like a gun's bullets like the projectiles in the prequel did. It takes 5,000 points to win an extra life, that's twice the amount it took in the prequel. And it doesn't help that all the bonus items come in only 25, 50, and 75 points. In the prequel, the smallest bonus item was worth 100 points. Every 10 levels, there is a boss that you have to defeat by throwing tomatoes at it. This boss is supposed to lunge at the player character every time he is in its way, and then back away. That way, we can throw tomatoes at it. This is the same exact sound effect that plays in Snoogles whenever the characters die. And here's my least favorite part about this game. Every time you die, you end up having to start the entire level all over again, because all the stars that you collected have been lost and put back to where they were. This is not the case in the original Paclands or the Pac-Man source material that inspired it. The prequel game did not have enemies that would shoot projectiles. Sometimes the stars will be up in the air away from the player's reach, so in order to access them you have to use boxes. The player can climb up boxes, but not ledges. Sometimes the projectile shooting enemies will be careless and accidentally hit themselves with their own projectiles. The time stopper does not stop cannons from shooting. Let's save those for later when we have enough tomatoes to fend off those enemies. Apparently, you cannot throw tomatoes at enemies while on those one-way arrows. And that was me being careless. So in order to fight that boss again, I have to play the other 4 levels before it.